refuse to watch any of it.
Greg, you got him?
What's the status of Tony Bradley for tomorrow?
If he gets through practice, okay today, he'll play tomorrow.
Has he practiced any?
He practiced, we played Monday, Tuesday was off. He practiced Wednesday and went through a shooting workout yesterday. And so I expect him to play, yeah.
Was that full practice? Limited or?
It was a little limited, but not much on whatever day the practice was, Wednesday.
Is it, you said before that the doctors making clearances and everything like that.
He's been cleared to play.
So what's the decision now? Is it based on?
If he can run up and down and make shots and defend and those kind of things, that's all it is now, unless, like I say, unless something happens.
Obviously, Kennedy Meeks and Isaiah Hicks didn't miss a beat last game. How will having Tony Bradley back help you?
Well, you look at the stats that he had. He was shooting over 50%. His offensive rebound totals for 40 minutes were really good. I mean, he's been an effective player, and so getting that back and not having to go small, not having to worry about every single foul. I mean, I played Theo and Justin at 4 and 5 in the game Saturday. The first time I've ever done that, anything like that in 29 years of coaching, and it was not pleasant. I was not happy doing it, not comfortable doing it, and so I like to do things over there where I'm happy and content with what I'm doing, and I did not like that. But we didn't have another big guy. We had to stay out of foul trouble.
When a guy like Tony sits out a couple games like he did and has to even much practice as well, is it also an opportunity for him maybe to learn something, to see things to a different vantage point than he had been?
It could be, but the first couple of practices, he didn't stay in there. I mean, you know, he had a headache and all those kind of things, so the doctors took care of him. I don't know that he really sat there and watched every practice and saw what was going on because they were trying to take care of him. But I think over a long term, if you sit there, you can learn a lot, but also you're missing games, and you can't go back in April and say, hey, I didn't play 3 games, let's play 3 more games now. They don't let you do that, so it's over with. But I've always felt that sometimes, that's really a stupid way to put something. There have been some times where guys really benefited from looking at it from a different perspective. Drew Gooden comes to mind immediately when he played for me in Kansas. I've had other guys that got in and said, you know, you're doing the same things that you understood I was getting mad about when on the bench. Why would he do that? You do the same thing. So I don't think there's any correlation. I just think it depends on the kid. But he wasn't out long enough to have a refresher course on North Carolina basketball.
How's Theo done as far as, has there been any lingering issues, foot, anything of concern since he's back?
No. I think after the first game, he said, my foot's sore, and they said, well, we expected it to be because you hadn't played, you know, but other than that, I think he's been fine.
Has it been anything limiting in practice where you're waiting
No.
to rest him a little bit just to be cautious?
Yeah, we've tried to do something with we've tried the whole thing, all the practice with some caution about just not throwing him back in. We made out a schedule a couple of days. We were thinking about going half court, and one of those days we didn't even practice. And then we've limited him on another day, and every single day there's been a substitute playing with him, so he's gotten some breaks. But we've tried to monitor it. Doug and the staff, the training staff, have told me which days they think will be good, and I said fine.
But that's more just the precaution.
Yeah.
Safe, not like a concern.
No, I think it's sort of like a guy that's, you know, if he's a marathon runner, if he's out for a while the first day back, he doesn't run a marathon.
He seems to be playing well lately. Could you anticipate him starting at all before season's end? Or do you like him with that second squad?
You still talking Theo? Yeah. He hasn't told me yet by his play that he's going to replace anybody, but he hasn't said that he should not be considered for that. Right now, we're just trying to get him back involved in the action, and I mean, it's a long time. I mean, it's 12 weeks, something like that, without playing, and so he's only played 3 or 4 games.
Coach, how have you guys done for the Georgia Tech game where things look pretty bad to right now being possibly the hottest team in the ACC?
We've played better. I think think that's the easiest way to get from that point. I think that Georgia Tech, you got to congratulate them. They did the right things, the good things, and we stunk it up. That's about as bad as I've ever seen any one of my teams play. But it's a fact of life that those things happen. And so, you know, when we came back, I didn't try to get on a waiver list and trade everybody. We just tried to go back to work and get better. And I'm not ready to send any of them to the Spurs right yet either. It's a long season. I figured out a better way to say it. I've been saying it's a marathon, but what it is, it's a marathon with a bunch of 400-yard sprints. And because every game you got to be able to play. And you know, I mean, everybody was abandoning ship after the Georgia Tech game, and now everybody's trying to get their floats back on. But we've done some good things in that stretch of games, and I'm hopeful that we'll keep doing it. But it's such a long season, so many different things. I mean, you see some weird things going on in the league, and I think we'll have those things going on all the time. But I am more pleased with the way we played the last 4 or 5 games than we were with Tech. There's no question.
Coach, I keep wanting to say Boston College wasn't that bad last season. They were just young. Those guys came back this season. I'm saying they're not as bad as folks keep wanting to say they are. What's your assessment?
Well, they're not. I mean, I watched them. I was on the road recruiting last night, and I had a tape of the Boston College North Carolina State game. I watched the Boston College Virginia game. It was that Wednesday night, Tuesday night. I watched that game. Boston College Syracuse game. I watched that game. And so 2 of the 3 games that I've watched, they've played well. One of them, they made 15 threes. I'm going up there, first of all, as I said jokingly, but very truthfully, I'm going up there wanting to make the whole 40 minutes myself is the first part. But we're going up there knowing that we have to play really well if we want to be successful. If you don't play really well, you're not going to be successful. And Robinson and Bowman, they really do some good things. And I've just lost his name. Chapman came off the bench the other night and played great, got 20 points or whatever it was. I mean, they can score, and I think Jimmy's done a really – was it Chapman? Chapman with a T. They've done some really good things, and I think Jimmy last year, this is his 3rd year. I think he's had 3 widely different teams. But this one, I think, makes him feel a heck of a lot better saying he calls himself a coach because they're doing a lot of things he wants them to do.
After you've had a few good games for the team, how do you manage the confidence versus overconfidence?
I remind them of Atlanta. I mean, really, I say, hey, guys, I don't care what the crap happened. I mean, we're as good as the last game. Let's play this game. And it is. It's I don't maybe somebody else is a lot smarter, but what I do is we do the best we can every day and try to prepare for that team and the best we can that day. And then if it's a game, we try to play the best we can, and then the next day we try to do it again. And I'm just it hadn't been perfect by any means, but it stood the test of time that we keep getting better throughout the course of the season. So that's the way I keep doing it. But I don't ever sit back and say, well, we're 4-1 now, and wait a minute. 5-1. Okay. See, that's right. I went to the press conference. I mean, not press conference, the radio show the other night. Thought we had a game on this coming Monday night. So I don't look down the schedule. Just what the dickens can I do today to help make this team better? And I think that stood the test of time of helping our team get better. And so I don't really get carried away of a certain number of games and how we're playing then. And I mean, again, one night, a long time ago, we beat somebody by a gazillion. And one of the writers said, aren't you feeling really good about your peaking at the right time is in the tournament? And the next day we lost and I went home. You know, so I really don't think just do it every day. Do it every day.
Kennedy was asked the other night after the game about why he thought.
I'm already worried about this.
Yeah. About why he thought Isaiah had elevated his game and was consistent at least for 3 games. And he said that he feels like he's preparing better. And when you ask questions about the scouting report, he's got the right answer right away. Kenny or Isaiah kind of agreed to that. Is that so, and how dramatic is the difference?
I don't ever want to go on record as saying that I agree with Kennedy, okay? But, that's right. I think Isaiah's really tried to prepare all year. I really do. I mean, he's been great in the scouting reports, knowing what's going on. I just think, again, this is not a very colorful answer either, but it's the same answer is just go to work and do your job. If you do it the right way, I think you get better. Some kids, if you have little aches and pains, I think that helps elevate your play if you're healthy. But otherwise, with the way I do it, I just think just go to work. And if you keep doing it, you're bound to get better. Again, just make sure everyone understands I'm not agreeing with anything Kennedy says.
Have you had a chance to put on Michael Jordan's shoes?
No, I haven't. I have them. I have them in my home, but I haven't put them on. They're pretty neat looking, but I don't have any idea what they are.
Speaking of Kennedy, he told me he had to tell you to take them off. You put 'em on.
He would have to tell me. Again, let's get on record. I don't do what Kennedy tells me to do. They were really neat. It was really a nice moment for me. The reaction of my players to those shoes was something I enjoyed probably more than I do the shoes. I've got them, and they're in a nice place.
What social function could you see yourself wearing those shoes?
What social function? Absolutely zero. I'll put them on sometime just to see what they feel like. But I've got, right in my house, I've got another pair of Jordans right beside of them that Michael, the 30th year anniversary of the 82, where Nike went back and made some Converse that we wore in the championship game. And they made 30 pairs of them. They sold 23 of them, made $175,000, and gave the other 7 pair. And I was very fortunate. I got number 2. Coach Smith got number 1, and I got number 2 out of 30. So I've got those sitting in my house also, and I've never put them on either. If any of you guys break into my house, you'll be a suspect.
I'm always looking for things for the museum, so
Yeah.
I may hit you up on that.
Yeah, you guys will be a suspect.
Roy, you mentioned going recruiting the other night. With these in-season recruiting trips that you do all the time, does that still kind of invigorate you and re-energize you a little bit?
Clint and I were just talking about this today. You know, it's out of fear. That's probably the best way to put it. I mean, I just feel like if I'm not doing that, somebody's getting ahead of me. Saturday with Florida State, I left within an hour after the game and was on the plane total for almost 6 hours. Tuesday, when they were doing the shooting period, I was on the plane for 4 hours. Last night, I was on the plane for 5 hours. It's just that I feel like it's my job, and I love watching kids play and trying to make a decision whether they can be successful in the way we play and can they add something to our program, and would I like to be their coach, and that part I love. I don't enjoy the travel there and back, but I can't snap my fingers, or what was that program, Bewitched? I can't move my nose and get there kind of thing, so it's part of it. But I've just always felt like that I was going to try to do everything I could.
What's the most unique thing you've ever been doing?
The most unique thing, wow. Let me think about that. I'll give you an answer next press conference. Let me think about that.
Have you ever surfed a day in your life?
No.
And how many surfboards do you have?
5 in my house. I got on a stand-up paddleboard one time because I really thought that would be neat to do. How many of you guys have ever stand-up paddleboard? A couple of you? Yeah, you guys, I thought that was a neat thing, and I got up on the stand-up paddleboard and fell, got back up, and I got cocky and gave it to Rocky. And the paddle was laying between my feet, so I reached over to get the paddle, and I slipped. And when I did, I did a somersault and went under the water and had a vertigo attack. And I'm under the water, and I can't figure out which way's up. And then I see the rope that's tied on my foot, and I pulled it, and I got up, climbed up on it, straddled it, paddled in, got there, and the guy said, "Coach, you all right? You were under that water more than I thought was necessary." And I said, here, let's take the board. Walked about 50 yards and went in the woods and puked and laid on the bed for about 5 hours, sick as a dog. Got in a plane and flew all night back from Hawaii and never been on a stand-up paddleboard again.
Well,
But,
I'm glad I brought up the surfboard.
Yeah, but I would love to do that. Look, that still just looks like the neatest thing in the world for me to do. But no, haven't. Got 5 really nice surfboards I've never been on. I've never seen that picture. Did they ever do that picture? I'd like to see
You know,
that.
we asked you for it several times.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
At the beginning of the season, you talked about how at practice Kennedy started to not make excuses and his attitude was kind of changing. Have you seen that translate to now?
I think he's doing a much better job of that. You know, we've tried to be careful with him, cautious with him because of his knees and trying not to push him as much and asking him to push himself. And I think he's done a better job of that. I think he's really done a nice job of rebounding. Still doesn't do as much of the explosive jumping that I want him to do, so he shoots a higher field goal percentage. But I think he's putting in the time, and he's done some awfully good things for us. And so hopefully he'll just keep doing that and keep him healthy throughout the whole course of the season. But I think his play is better now than it was for he had a stretch there. But in Hawaii, he was really good too. He was really good there.
Coach, with the inauguration today, what is your relationship like with Barack Obama? We've read some things, GQ today. Obviously,
I've got that article, but I haven't read it yet. So
I was gonna say, what's your relationship with President Obama?
I have a great deal of admiration for him. I think this Monday's USA Today reminding, it was like a hour-by-hour thing of his inauguration 8 years ago and where the stock market was, the economy was, what the unemployment rate was. I think there's been some tremendous things that have happened during his presidency. So, yes, I'm a President Obama fan. I think he's done a tremendous job. He's one of the best speakers I've ever heard. He likes basketball. He likes golf. You know, so we have some things in common there. He's been very gracious to my team every time he's been with my team. So I am a President Obama fan. There's no question, and a guy that I admire a great deal.
Seems like he admires you too.
Well, you know, I've never asked him. You know, it's the kind of thing. Other people say that he said some good things, and I know I liked it when he picked us to win it, and then said we also had a perfect score in the APR at that time, so I like those kind of things. But I've had a chance to be with him for short periods of time, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 occasions. But I have a great deal of admiration for him, and really, really a great deal of admiration.
Anybody else?
Thank you, guys.
Kennedy in here.